Yes, Anaco Pharma is a contract manufacturer. We serve three industries: the pharmaceutical, medical device, and nutritional ingredient industries. And within that, specifically, we do freeze drying or lyophilization, aseptic filling, packaging, and material handling, such as blending and milling and bulk packaging.
What qualities should a pharmaceutical company look for when seeking the services of a contract service provider?
Well, I think there are several things that they need to look for, and I think the first one is technical competence. You certainly want to have a company that's able to do your job, that understands your needs, and has the technical ability and equipment that can do the job. The second thing is really the confidence you can gain in the people you deal with. I think a lot of times an otherwise competent company can lose customers just because they don't spend enough time talking to them. They don't maintain the correct timelines. They don't give them high priority. And I think the only way you're going to know a company is competent is to deal with them and get to know the people who are actually going to be doing your project and working on your product.
The pharmaceutical industry is becoming more and more global in nature. How do you stay current with the various regulatory agencies?
Well, I do a lot of reading, and online makes it so much easier to access these kind of things. So it's something I specifically look for and deal with. I used to go to a lot of conferences. Now I am able to delegate others to go to regulatory meetings. But I'd say that if I look at where I learn the most, it's really from customers or potential customers. There's a great deal of information that you can gain from an audit or even a conversation with a customer, explaining what their needs are and what their issues from a regulatory status are. So I guess the answer is all of the above, but with the customer contact being probably the most important. The other thing, of course, is since we're ISO 9000, working to an international standard, we do get a lot of information from the certifying body that sort of comes with the certification and with our annual payment required to keep that.
How important to your success is the input and expertise of your equipment vendors?
I think it's absolutely essential. We, of course, being a contract manufacturer, believe in outsourcing, and that really includes information. At least in my experience of the years, the manufacturing and equipment vendors have become so much more than just salesmen. They've had to become storehouses of knowledge, if you were. Sales are done on a technical basis, and I think with any project, almost always, if the project requires equipment or something we don't already have, we'll start with a vendor to get information about what's out there, to get information about how these things are used, and I usually find that to be very successful.
Okay. And kind of going off of that, how important is it to your customers that you are very well versed in the latest technologies and that your equipment is up to date?
I think that it's important that we know what the technologies are, and I think in a sense it's important that our equipment is up to date, but only to a point. I think everybody is balancing capability with new and flashy and shiny, and I think at least most customers are knowledgeable about what adds value and what doesn't. Having said that, equipment and maintaining currency with the technology increases is probably our biggest challenge, because it is a cost, it's something that you can't recover quickly, but it's something we have to think of all the time to remain competitive first and to remain even a player at all in this changing industry.
Where do you think your company will be in 5 years if you were to look towards the future?
Well, I think in 5 years we're going to be about 10 times the revenue we have right now, and we're going to be about 4 or 5 times the number of employees we have right now. I say that with some level of confidence because I just finished writing a business plan to justify the expansion we completed, and that's the numbers I came up with. I believe that's a conservative look because I think the opportunities in outsourced pharmaceutical manufacturing are big, and partly our growth is limited by the resources that we have right now. But I think it's great opportunities to make that and better.
Okay, and just expanding on that a little bit more, going into just pharmaceutical contract services in general, just the general market in the future, are there any things that you're seeing for the future of?
Well, I think a couple of things. First, that the trend to outsourced manufacturing will continue, but I also think a new segment that has probably only been in the last 5 years or so is the emergence as customers of smaller startup pharmaceutical companies that in the past would have sold great technology to a big pharma and then moved on to their next product. Today, these companies are forced to rather than selling technology, are moving toward having to have a product to sell, which requires manufacturing and process development. And that's a niche we really are interested in and a niche we hope to be a leader in.